Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this really important conversation on reproductive justice beyond population control. I am Itopse Wago. I'm a feminist researcher, a grant maker, a storyteller, and I'm excited to be in this conversation with you today.
Me too. I'm Ann Hendrickson from Collective Power for Reproductive Justice. Tobse and I are both passionate about reproductive justice and about strengthening it. And we've been in conversation about this issue for some time and are excited to share it with you. We see opportunity and warning in this fraught political moment with far-right attacks on abortion and contraception, trans health, and critical race theory, alongside worsening climate change with serious implications for our health and well-being. While these challenges are real, very real, we are heartened by a simultaneous momentum of radical resistances, including reckoning with harmful pasts.
We wanted to have this very necessary and timely conversation, a community reckoning with population control, to help us understand how it shows up in today's reproductive health thinking and funding. We believe it's a conversation that can help us confront the past, including the legacies of systemic reproductive harm, and vision opportunities of how we can collectively inform change. We wrote an article for Nonprofit Quarterly entitled Reproductive Justice Beyond Population Control, where we highlight how donors, individuals, and organizations can champion a community reckoning with population control and strengthen reproductive justice. In this talk, we wanted to lift up 3 recommendations that came out of this paper. The first is to own the continued impact of population control. The second recommendation is to challenge win-win approaches that pit contraceptive access with economic and environmental gains. And the last recommendation is to reimagine success and futures beyond population control with those communities at the front lines, at the forefront of both reproductive and environmental oppression. And why don't you kick us off?
Excellent, thank you. So recommendation 1 is to own the legacies of population control. And we see this as an opportunity for collective action. We need each other, and as a dynamic. And it's an opportunity to collectively address decades of population control and its aftermath. This means recognizing that population control is not behind us as a past history or past mistake, but as a damaging foundation for some of our reproductive health norms today. And together, we can recognize where population control shows up and unseat those norms. This means committing to a process of addressing past harm, sort of a reconciliation with past harm, and also addressing today's biases. And we're fortunate in that we can draw from the wisdom of BIPOC-centered feminist resistances to population control. And this includes decades of international activism, which has long resisted population control as an issue of gender, race, and class injustice. We can also look to international efforts to dismantle eugenics or decolonizing global health as promising ways forward. And you can check out the Anti-Eugenics Project. Tobse, can you pop that in the chat, please? And watch videos of ways to dismantle the complex and embedded legacies of eugenics and support visions of liberation that promote disability and reproductive justice. Ready for the next recommendation?
I am. Thanks so much for that, Anne. Our second recommendation is to challenge these narrow win-win approaches that conflate expanded access to contraceptive technology as a means of solving for really rooted economic and environmental issues. Listen, affordable and expanded access to contraceptives is a win in and of itself. And it's an essential part of comprehensive healthcare, but it won't fix complex economic or environmental problems. And win-win messages falsely communicate just that contraceptives are a means for fixing economic and environmental issues. Beneath this positive message of a shared win is the assumption that fertility stands in the way of environmental sustainability and economic prosperity. We have to trouble this idea. It stands starkly against reproductive justice, and there's significant harm in placing the ills of the world on the bodies and the fertility of Black and Brown women. So it not only runs the risk of pitting people's reproductive needs and desires against development or conservation interventions, it also distracts us from addressing what causes environmental harm, like fossil fuel dependency, or what is deepening inequality, like low wages. And so when we think about what it looks like to unpack these win-win strategies, first off, we must start by rejecting this overly simplistic and often damaging idea. We need to decouple fertility from concepts of progress and development. When you think about funding expanded access to comprehensive care, because it's necessary, to contraceptive care rather, because it's necessary, especially in this time, not because it's a simple fix for these deep-rooted issues. Mm-hmm. We also need to listen, lift up, and match the long-term visions for system change that reproductive, climate, and economic movements hold. The root causes that communities are working to solve for are systemic and complex, and the funding and the solutions must be equally long-term and committed to systems change.
Thanks, Atobse. I think that leads us beautifully into reimagining success. And I think we can do that by reimagining our measures of success. Like, what does success look like? And that means reimagining metrics and decentering fertility control as the primary goal. This opens the opportunity for realizing a broader, inclusive version of reproductive justice that upholds not just the right not to have children, but also the right to have children and to parent the children we have in safe and healthy environments. It also means reimagining whose knowledges matter and centering race and gender conscious methodologies. Atobse?
Yeah, thanks, Anne. And it also means, I think reimagining success in many ways also means funding the radical visions of BIPOC feminists, right? Reimagining success by reimagining who sits at the table and is centering the radical visions for comprehensive reproductive justice. We have a blueprint in many ways. BIPOC communities, those most impacted by environmental and economic issues and by reproductive injustice, have been at the forefront of visioning and imagining futures for us. It's time that we trust their visions, their voices, their knowledge, and their leadership.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thanks to all of you for being here. And if you want to contact us, our emails are available for you.
Yes, let me make sure that we've got them available right here. But yes, thank you so much folks, for making the time to listen to this conversation. Please feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions.